Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Relax. It's okay. We won. So it's clear that this anti-immigrant fervor is at an all-time high across this nation. And it seems like with daily frequency, immigrant communities are being targeted, their safety fractured, their families disrespected, separated, and their livelihoods threatened. And it is with their livelihoods in mind that we join here today. We're here because several brave home health aid workers who experienced unfair wage and retaliation practices by their employer decided to take matters into their own hands and to take action. And thanks to these incredible workers today, I'm proud to announce that All Care Home Care Agency, a New York-based home health aid company, will make amends to over 100 workers, totaling $450,000 for cheating them out of wages and benefits and for unlawfully threatening deportation to immigrant workers when they complained about their unpaid wages. The more than 10 workers who reported the company's unlawful practices to my office will each receive approximately $8,000 for emotional distress. Our investigation found that in not paying the home health aides the amount that they were actually owed, the company was violating New York labor law, the New York Home Health Care Worker Wage Parity Act, and the New York Earned Sick Time Act. In particular, the company failed to pay aides working 24 hours shifts for every hour they worked, and they failed to offer legally required paid leave policies. The health aides are among the many who spend tireless hours caring for New York's aging and disabled population. Across the state, approximately 200,000 aides provide home health care services each and every day. And over 60% of home health aides in New York State are immigrants, and over 90% are women. And despite the vital importance of their work, home health aides rarely earn above the minimum wage. And most aides statewide live well below the poverty level. I've known many home health aides. In fact, I know them personally. It was a home health aide who stayed with my mother and allowed me to work, and I want to thank her. I can truly say that they work tirelessly and thanklessly to care for our ailing and our aging loved ones, and they absolutely deserve every dollar and every cent that they earn. But most notably and most devastatingly, All Care retaliated against immigrant workers by threatening to call immigration authorities when these workers sought the unpaid wages that they were entitled to. And each year, more than 6 million undocumented workers experience wage theft, while 85% of immigrant workers report suffering overtime violations. And immigrants have the right to work without the threat of being targeted by their employers because of their immigration status. And this past legislative session, we, the Office of Attorney General, we codified that right when the state anti-immigration retaliation bill that originated from our office became law. And I want to thank the state legislature. The law creates much-needed penalties for employers who retaliate against employees by threatening them with contacting immigration authorities. Our office will continue to hold employers accountable for violating labor laws and promote fairness and respect for working New Yorkers, regardless of their immigration status. Anyone who ignores the human rights of individuals obviously will be prosecuted by this office, and we will pursue justice for all individuals who unfortunately feel like they have no one to turn to. That's why this office is here. We are in the justice business, and I'm so honored and privileged to have provided justice to these vulnerable workers. And I'm so glad that they were able to stand up for their rights, and I'm so glad that they decided to stand up for what is right under the law. And it's critically important for us to use the law both as a sword and as a shield to protect vulnerable workers. And it's important that we stand up for their rights, and we stand up for them without fear of punishment. And so I want to thank Take Root Justice. I want to thank National Mobilization Against Sweatshops for joining me today and for their help in bringing this issue to my office's attention. And of course, to all of the workers who have joined me today and who have showed great courage and were not afraid to stand up against these unjust labor practices. And we are here not because of the Attorney General, but because of these brave men and women. And the first that I would like to introduce to you is Justa Barrios, worker who was employed by All Care and a victim of their predatory practices. Ms. Barrios?
Yes.
The podium is yours.
Mi nombre es Justa Barrios. Primeramente agradezco a la fiscal general todos los apoyos que nos ha dado a nosotros y he trabajado cuidadora de hogares por 18 años. Ha trabajado, es un trabajo muy difícil, lo hacemos con amor y respeto. Este apoyo del fiscal general ayuda a nosotros, trabajadores, de poder luchar para nuestros derechos y nuestros pagos, mejores condiciones. Por ejemplo, yo trabajé 14 años de 24 horas, 4 días, 5 días por semana, a un costo grande a mi familia y a mi salud. Levanto mi voz para decir no más por experiencia. Yo digo que tenemos que parar turno 24 horas, tenemos que dividirlo 2 turnos, 12 y 12. Nosotros somos seres humanos, tenemos familia, estamos cuidando personas con necesidades serias. Invito a todos los trabajadores en los hogares y a todos los trabajadores unirse con nosotros para terminar el día 24 horas, para tener una vida mejor. Gracias.
Gracias. Next, I want to invite Selena Martinez, who was also employed by All Care, to share her story. Ms. Martinez?
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Sileni Martínez. También soy una cuidadora en los hogares. Y estoy aquí en representación de EMAS. EMAS es una movilización nacional en contra de la explotación, donde nos reunimos trabajadores de todas las industrias para luchar contra el robo de salario, trabajos a largas horas, explotación en nuestros trabajos.
Okay, I'll be translating for Seleni.
Perdón.
Sorry. My name is Seleni Martinez. I am also a home care worker. I'm here as a representative of NMAS, an organization, mobilization against sweatshops. We're here today uniting with workers across industries and all backgrounds against wage theft and exploitation on our jobs and our communities. Sigue.
En nuestros trabajos y en nuestras comunidades, luchando contra la explotación en nuestros trabajos y en nuestras comunidades. El trabajo de cuidadoras en los hogares es muy exigente. Dile.
Sigue.
Y los turnos de 24 horas afectan nuestra salud y nuestras familias. Enfrentamos tales abusos. Trabajamos 4, 5 y 6 días a las semanas. Yo, por ejemplo, trabajé 27 años, la mayoría turnos de 24 horas. Encima de ellos me pagaban 13 horas por el turno de 24. Somos latinos, africanos, caribeños, afroamericanos, puertorriqueños, somos sindicalistas y algunos somos sindicalizados y algunos sin sindicatos.
Okay, we have to host it. The 24-hour workday is very difficult and very grueling. 24-hour shifts affect our health and our families. We face abuse. We work 4, 5, 6 days a week for years on end. We are I, for one, was employed for 25 years and was paid only 13 hours for 24-hour shifts. Many of us are Latinos, Chinese, Afro-Caribbean, African Americans, Puerto Ricans. Some of us are union and non-union workers.
¿En qué otro país hay una jornada laboral de 24 horas? Esto es un insulto para todos los trabajadores. Las cuidadoras están liderando a otros trabajadores que también trabajan largas horas y no tienen control sobre sus tiempos.
In what other country do 24-hour shifts exist? This is an insult for all workers. As home care workers, we are giving leadership to workers, all workers, who work long hours and don't have control over their time.
Apreciamos a la fiscal general al tomar este caso y apoyando a las cuidadoras en su lucha para mejorar las condiciones de los pacientes y trabajadores sin represalias, especialmente en este clima político. Esperamos que el fiscal general pueda continuar apoyando a los trabajadores para defender sus derechos y mejorar las condiciones.
We give thanks to the Attorney General for taking on these cases and for supporting workers in the struggle for better conditions for patients and workers without retaliation. Especially in this political climate, we hope that the Attorney General will continue to support workers and defend their rights and improve their conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias.
And now I'm going to be translating for Justa. My name is Justa Barrios. I thank the Attorney General and all of the workers in our group who are here with us today. I worked as a home care worker for 18 years. It is a difficult job, but we do it with love and respect. This support that the Attorney General is giving us, workers, to be able to fight for our rights, for our pay, and better conditions. For example, I worked 14 years, 24-hour shifts, 4 or 5 days a week, at a huge cost to my family and my health. Today I'm standing up to say no more. Because of my experience, we need to stop these 24-hour shifts. We need to divide them in 12 and 12 into split shifts, because we're human beings, we have families, and we have people we care for with serious health issues. So I invite other home care workers and in home attendants and other jobs to unite with us to put an end to these 24-hour shifts for a better life. Thank you.
And our last speaker will be Tito Sina, the Workers' Rights Supervising Attorney at Take Root Justice. Mr. Sina.
We thank the Attorney General and the dedicated work of their office on this case to fight wage theft, protect workers from retaliation, and bring relief to this group of home care workers. Home care workers are among the most vulnerable of New York's workers, the majority of whom are low-wage and women of color, who are subject to unpaid wages, unpaid overtime, and 24-hour shifts. In today's hostile anti-immigrant political climate, home care workers are also subject to retaliatory threats and actions when they stand up for their rights at the workplace. We commend the Attorney General's leadership to protect the rights of immigrants. Most importantly, we thank these workers for their courage to come forward and fight for their rights. Together, the Office of the Attorney General, the workers, and worker advocates have sent a strong message today that in New York, we will stand with immigrants and fight for social justice.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank my great, wonderful, and tireless staff for their work in seeing the settlement through. Civil Enforcement Section Chief, Ming-Chi Yu, raise your hand. There you go, okay. Assistant Attorney General, Michael Cowles, raise your hand. He's of the Labor Bureau, which is supervised by Acting Bureau Chief Julie Olmert. Additionally, I'd like to thank former data analyst William Greenlaw of the Research and Analytics Department, which is under the supervision of Deputy Director Megan Thorsfeld and Director Jonathan Warburg. And of course, we want to thank the Chief Deputy Attorney General for Social Justice Division, who's hiding in the back, Megan Fox. Thank you, Megan. Any questions? Oh.
Just a couple factual questions. What's the average hourly wage that they were supposed to be paid? What is their immigration status and what is their employment status with this company?
So the 13 that were undocumented are no longer working at All Care. On average, they will receive from this settlement $8,000 each. The other individuals who were alleging wage violations and violations related to the Parity Act and labor law, those individuals will receive an award of $450,000, and it's difficult to tell what each individual will make because it all depends upon their circumstances and the number of hours that they worked.
Why did they leave employment with the company?
So the 13, because there was an audit, this came about as a result of an audit. And individuals did an audit to determine whether or not individuals were, in fact, documented. When they uncovered that these 13 were undocumented, they were fired. And they had sought to get unpaid wages. And when they sought to get their unpaid wages, they were told that they would be reported to ICE. And as a result of that, they contacted our office, and we uncovered, as a result of our investigation, other labor violations.
Who was the auditor? Was it the federal government? Was it private?
It was within All Care. They did some audit. They were checking their documentation.
And just finally, the 13 are still in the United States?
And some of them are in this room. Yeah.
They were talking about 24-hour shifts. Where is that? Is that legal?
So, as you know, the 24-hour shift rule, there's a provision in the regulation which basically says that individuals should only be paid for 13 hours. Particularly, they should not be paid for the remaining hours if they are afforded sleep and if they are afforded breaks. So, on average, they're only paid for 13 hours. Currently, there is legislation in Albany to, one, correct abuses related to the 24-hour rule, and two, to address this requirement that individuals not be paid additional wages for the period that they sleep and that they are afforded breaks.
Are Ms. Martinez and Ms. Barrios, are they both former All Care employees?
Yes.
Okay. And they're both, neither of them are working there?
Correct.
So the 13 individuals you said complained to the office, they have been terminated and they want to get back wages. They're
Yeah.
getting $8,000 for emotional distress. Are they getting back wages?
So, yeah, they're getting back wages, but they were additionally getting $8,000 for emotional distress.
That's over and
Yes, over and above, yeah.
And then, so if it's legal to only pay them 13 hours out of 24, what were...
Because they were not, in some cases, they were not sleeping, they in fact were working. And so it's only when they are actually sleeping, they're not entitled to any additional wages. But when in fact they continue to work, they're entitled to additional wages. And they were, I was told, the employer believed that they were undocumented. Our office has no actual knowledge of their particular immigration status.
But they were terminated.
Correct.
And how much were they being paid? Was it minimum wage for 13 hours?
It was minimum wage.
Is there any estimate of how much that back pay will be?
No, it's difficult because it all depends upon the number of hours that each individual worked. So it's hard to break it down.
Are you determined by timesheets or by what they say? Or how do you determine what that?
I think it would be by timesheets. Timesheets, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The 450,000.
Yes.
That's just the back pay and benefits, and then it's 8,000 times 13.
Correct. Correct.
Over how many years do these allegations go back? You're talking about workers who have been there for more than a decade, so are they saying that from the very beginning, this is what they experienced?
So what's the time period?
About 2 years. The company only started about 2 years.
So it's a 2-year period because the All Care only started about 2 years ago.
And the audit was when?
The audit was, I think, within the last year,
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
When did they complain to your office?
They came here
2 years.
around the same time, around 2 years ago.
Decades of experience. So would you say these abuses are widespread in this industry?
So, again, we are looking at other companies with respect to the abuse, particularly related to the 24-hour rule, and we are looking at other businesses as it relates to wage violations and the failure to pay overtime and the benefits wage parity law.
So one part of the city, one borough that these workers have to be from? Or
No, it's widespread. It's all over the state of New York, unfortunately.
are there any penalties against the employer for trying to report into ICE?
So as a result of the legislation that this office put forward, clearly what we are doing is codifying and making it illegal and a violation for individuals to report, to basically use their status as a threat to contact ICE. And so that bill was passed in the legislature, and it will become effective in this next month in October.
Is there anything All Care will have to do differently going forward as a result of the settlement as opposed to the legislation?
There is some injunctive relief, and we can get you that. That was negotiated with All Care.
more than 100 workers who were impacted by what happened, all of them undocumented immigrants?
No, just at the,
13?
yeah.
Just the 13.
Oh, right, I'm sorry, yes.
What impact will the new, settlement that has been introduced, how will it introduce during the 24-hour work?
So the 24-hour work rule, as you know, it's just pending in Albany. It has not been passed. The bill that was passed has to do with retaliation. And hopefully this legislative session, the legislature will take up this 24-hour rule. One, related to the abuse, that individuals are not being paid, and two, with respect to the fact that individuals want a 12 and 12-hour shift. They want that 24-hour broken up, and they want to be paid accordingly.
Paying these, their salary, is it Medicaid, is it Medicare, is it private family?
So we can get you a breakdown of the... It's primarily Medicaid, but in some cases, for instance, in my particular case where we were using an agency, it was private money is what involved.
And
One
is
more
this-
question?
Whoops.
Is this agreement codified in the copy that we can have?
The copy of our settlement, can they get a copy of the settlement? Okay, yeah, we can get that to you.
So
But,
was-
yeah, one
was-
second.
Was the company resistant? Were they nasty? Were they cooperative? And how do you feel in your heart of hearts about winning this?
Let's just say it was a productive discussion. And it usually is a productive discussion when you have in your hand a subpoena.
Off topic?
What's the time frame that these workers are going to get paid for the time that they didn't get paid in the past? I mean, when is that we're going to see this money? Is it today? Is it
Have they received their money as of yet?
Partially, they're receiving, it's supposed to go for our
Okay, so they've partially received some of the funds, and then over a period of time, they will receive the remaining of the settlement.
Off topic?
the threat?
That we will report them to ICE that they are undocumented, and that they should be deported.
And did that in fact ever happen?
Did they ever contact?
Report them to ICE, that you know.
I don't think so. No. They came to our office as a result, and then we contacted All Care and announced an investigation. Off topic.
Can you explain why you direct the makers to do-it-yourself rape kits to cease and desist operations?
Because there's a question with regards to the quality of the kit. There's a question as to whether or not it's admissible, and you can get these services free. And so as a result of that, we believe that they were taking advantage of vulnerable individuals, and it's really critically important that they cease their operations.
Do you think there's any value to those do-it-yourself kits, whether they're traumatized and don't want to go to a medical?
We don't know, and that's the question, whether or not the quality of the kit, we don't know the quality of the kit. We don't know whether or not the kit is admissible in court. And lastly, individuals can get these services free. And so we just think that these companies are taking advantage of vulnerable women. Thank you all.